Welcome to today's information session from New York State Child Care Providers about the new FAMS comprehensive background check process. We have some exciting updates to share with you. On our agenda for today is a quick review of the comprehensive background check process. We will start with some exciting news about what is new for you, followed by a walkthrough and demonstration of the new CBC process in the Facility and Application Management System, also known as FAMS. We will end by reviewing the support and training resources available to you. Let's get started. We will begin today's session with a very quick review of the current comprehensive background check process. When child care providers have a new staff member apply to a position with the program, or a new household member or volunteer to be added to the staff list, the first item to check is if this person has fingerprints on file with the Office of Children and Family Services. If the person has never worked in child care, then they will need to go have their fingerprints taken. If the applicant was previously approved for child day care and has not had a break in service from the program for more than 180 days, your regulator may associate their fingerprints to your program. The new staff member also fills out all of the 6,000 packet required forms and hands the paper forms into the child care provider. The provider then takes the completed 6,000 packet and mails the forms to their regulator. Some providers also must take the step of mailing a paper check to OCFS for the statewide Central Register Database check. Now, let's move on to what is new about the CBC process for child care providers. Coming soon, all providers will be able to complete and submit their comprehensive background check 6,000 packet forms for all their employees, volunteers, and household members through the OCFS Facility Application and Management System. Instead of sending the 6,000 packet through the postal mail to your regulator, you will enter the information into FAMS for immediate receipt by your regulator. This new streamlined FAMS CBC process will give you real-time status updates and increased transparency. You will receive notifications and have immediate insight into the status of your active staff list, saving time and giving you the answers without needing to contact your regulator. Also coming soon, all providers will be able to submit statewide Central Register Database checks and make online payments using the online clearance system. No more sending checks through the mail. You can submit this electronically. Third, all providers will be able to request a waiver through FAMS to have fingerprints associated with your program. Now let's hear from some real providers who have experienced the new background check process during testing with OCFS. The providers said, "Love it. Super easy to use. This is an incredible tool. The online SCR is so much easier to use than the mail. You know before you submit if there is an error, and you have a lot of alternate ways to pay. This site is so easy to use. I was familiar with FAMS doing my school-age application a couple of years ago, and that was easy. Just the thought of us being able to do this for our new staff and be able to keep our files up to date is amazing." Now that you know all about the new FAMS features and what other providers are saying, I will now show you what it looks like. Please note that today we will just be highlighting each step of the FAMS CBC process, but will not providing detailed training at this time. OCFS will be offering follow-up technical assistance and training sessions in the weeks ahead to address any specific questions about new functionality. Let's begin. Before we get started, it is important to note OCFS strongly recommends clearing your web browser's cache and history prior to logging into FAMS. Some users have trouble logging in due to their web browser automatically filling in usernames and passwords. The cache is a set of temporary files that your browser downloads to speed up loading web pages and websites you've already visited. These files can cause performance problems and inaccuracies in the system, which is used to access FAMS. Next, open and check the inbox of the email account you have registered with OCFS. Providers new to FAMS will receive an email invitation from OCFS, which contains the unique personal link used to set up your FAMS account. Please be sure to not share or forward this email. The link that it contains is unique to your account and cannot be used by another person. Locate and open the email with the subject line Invitation to the New York State Child Day Care Facility Application and Management System from the sender at ocfs.ny.gov. Click on the link in the email to go to FAMS. FAMS requires that you have a my.ny.gov ID account in order to access the system. When you see this screen, select yes or no for the question, do you have a ny.gov account? If you already have an account and selected yes, here you can enter your my.ny.gov ID username and password. Then click on the Sign In button. If you do not yet have one, click on the Create an Account link and follow the steps to create your account. Once your account is created and confirmed, you can then return to FAMS and log in. After logging in, FAMS will open to your program's dashboard. The first thing to do is locate the facility or program that you will be entering background check information for. Click on the My Programs link in the upper right or scroll down the page to search below. Once you find the program, click on the facility ID or program name. Your facility dashboard for that program will open. Here you will see options for child care slot management or other features you have access to, including background checks. Click on the Background Checks drop-down menu where you can choose to view the staff list or request a waiver. Before starting a new staff CBC, you should determine if the person may already have been fingerprinted or CBC approved and in the system. You can submit a request to have their fingerprints associated with your program by requesting a waiver. This is an option if the applicant was previously approved for child day care and has not had a break in service from a program for more than 180 days. Once submitted, your regulator will receive an email notification, so they will know to go in and review the request. If the request is approved, the regulator will waive the person into your facility, and they will appear on your staff list. If the person does not have prints on file with OCFS, send them to get their prints taken, and the person should appear on your CBC active staff list within a few days from that time. The other option after selecting background checks is staff list. Once selected, the facility staff list will be populated with active, fingerprinted staff and those who have been waived into your facility. The staff list in FAMS Background Checks gives you immediate insight into the status of all of your staff CBCs and where they are in the process. Instead of waiting to hear back from your regulator after mailing a packet through the mail, you will know right away the status of CBC-related items. The staff list provides you with options to search your staff list by name and/or role. Click on a staff name to open their CBC. Quickly view their clearance status. Quickly view any outstanding requirements. See how many days are remaining until their next CBC is due. Open and print clearance letters. View letter status and letter status date. Remove staff from the staff list. Finally, you can add a new staff CBC. Here is a quick look at what the clearance letters look like and also the view of any outstanding requirements. Check on the outstanding requirements often, as this list will be updated as requirements are approved and processed by your regulator. To permanently remove a person from your staff list, click on the End Date link in the Remove from Staff List column for that person. Be sure you want to remove the person, as only the regulator can reactivate the person. Click on the Add New Staff button to begin entering 6,000 packet information for a new person not already in the system. The background check will open first to the Staff Information tab. This section collects basic demographic information and allows you to request their role at the facility. The request waiver will appear as the first option. Make a selection, enter the information, and move on to the next section of the page. Fill out all of the fields for the required person information and address information sections of this page. Next, you will need to associate the person with their role at the facility. Roles available will depend on your modality. For CFDCs or FDCs, the question will appear to select household member. Additional roles requested are assistant, on-site provider, substitute, or volunteer. For DCCs or SACs, the role will default to employee. Additional roles requested are director, volunteer, site supervisor, assistant teacher, teacher, teacher's aide. The final step for this tab is to attest that you have the required forms and information needed to process the person's clearances. Select Yes if you have this information and click on the Save button. The next tab will document if the person has lived out of state in the last 5 years. Note that prior residence in another country does not apply and only residences in U.S. states or territories in the past 5 years are collected. If no, click on Save and move on to the next tab. If yes, click on Add another address to fill out and save each out-of-state address lived at in the past 5 years. The next tab is Request for Fingerprints and Role Maintenance. There are no selections to make for the NYS Fingerprinting Services section, but instructions are provided on how to request them. Anyone who has been previously fingerprinted by OCFS for the purposes of child day care may not need to be fingerprinted again. Contact your regulator using the Request a Waiver link. There is a phone number and link available in this section for the Identi-Go website, which provides fingerprinting appointment scheduling services. Use the service code provided on the screen when scheduling. This section also includes a list of accepted forms of identification to bring to an appointment. The role maintenance section should almost never be used. The only times to use role maintenance are as follows. The person no longer works at your program. Please note that once you end date a person, you are not able to undo this action. Contact your regulator if this was done in error. You need to add or change the role for this person. For example, you need to add a new assistant. If you need to add or change the role of a new director, medication administrator, or health consultant, please contact your regulator for assistance. Under Criminal Conviction Statement, the provider will attest that a CCS form has been received from the staff member and indicate what the staff member reported on that form. If the staff member attests they have not been convicted of a crime, click to select Have not been convicted of a crime. Your name will appear under Attested by along with the date and time next to Attested on. If they have been convicted of a crime, click on Yes in the confirmation pop-up if you are sure that this person has been convicted of a crime. This answer, once saved, cannot be changed. Once Yes is selected, a safety assessment is triggered and OCFS will look into this person's criminal history. The staff exclusion list must be checked before an individual has regular and substantial contact with children in child day care programs. The SEL contains the names of individuals who have committed serious acts of abuse. The Request for Staff Exclusion List check tab is where OCFS collects the Social Security number or alien registration number, which speeds up the processing of the staff exclusion list check. If you have this information, click on Edit to update the record. In most cases, no additional action needs to be taken on this tab. Click on Next to continue. The statewide Central Register database must be checked before an individual has regular and substantial contact with children in child care programs. The SCR online clearance system accepts electronic payments for the database check, which means providers do not have to send in paper checks through postal mail. Click on the SCR online clearance system link to be automatically passed through into the OCS. If you are prompted to log in, enter the same ny.gov ID that you used to access FAMS and click on Sign In. Now we are moving on to the Qualifications tab. The qualifications are not required to process the staff CBC unless the individual is a director, site supervisor, on-site provider, or assistant. However, you do need to keep this information on file for all employees. Enter in the information for education, child care experience, and supervisory experience into the provided fields. Use the file management options and buttons provided in each section to manage the information and files associated with the person's qualifications. The References tab is also not required to process the staff CBC unless the individual is a director, site supervisor, on-site provider, or assistant. However, references are required to be on file for all employees. Click on the Add New Reference button for each reference you would like to add. The last required tab is the Medical Statement. This section asks the provider to attest that the program has a current medical form for the staff member that supports their ability to work in childcare. Click on Upload to add the medical statement form. Note that photos of required forms can be uploaded to FAMS and used if you do not have an electronic copy. The new staff CBC has been added and the person will now be a part of your active staff list in FAMS. You can now return to this person's CBC at any time to review, edit, and print information. Check the staff list for status updates and clearances as the request works its way through the electronic systems. Now that you have seen what the FAMS CBC process is like, please know that support and additional training resources are available to you. OCFS will be updating the Comprehensive Background Checks webpage, adding a new page called Information, Resources, and Training Guides. Here you will be able to access a number of recorded training sessions, quick reference guides, video tutorials, and frequently asked questions for the FAMS CBC process whenever you need it. Check back often as training resources will be added in the upcoming weeks. For help and support, you can send an email to the address on the screen, or again check for updates on the Comprehensive Background Checks webpage. That is the end of our information session today. Thank you for your participation.